It's a step in the right direction.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's that time of the week, Gen Z movie reviews. Today, I have the ultimate pleasure of being joined by Luke Galliardo, friend of the channel, co-host, as well as another friend, the Particular Critic X. And before we get started, please make sure to check out his new channel. He just started his own channel. He's going to be making some exciting videos, so check in the description below and subscribe to the Particular Critic. Get him started
New video
strong.
on Monday or
That'd be
Tuesday,
great.
or Tuesday of next week.
Today's Tuesday. Okay. Yeah, it's been one of
Next
those
Tuesday.
weird days.
Yep.
But yeah, thank you all for joining us here today. We're very excited to talk about Cabin in the Woods. It's gosh, for me, growing up, Cabin in the Woods was always one of those films I feared the most for whatever reason. When I looked and saw this picture, I was just freaked out so much as a young kid. And I didn't know, like, looking at this, it's such a, it's an optical image. It doesn't tell you anything, but it looks serious. I mean, it presents a serious tone. It's dark, and obviously there's going to be some trippy stuff involved, right? Well, this movie definitely went against all expectations I would have had. And if I would have watched this as a young child, I would have been screwed up for totally different reasons. This is not a scary film at all.
Mm-mm.
But before I get into it, though, if you liked what we have to say today, please make sure to leave us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and share this with anybody else that you might know be interested in hearing about Cabin in the Woods, because I know Ty, Particular Critic down there, he's a big fan of the movie. The whole reason why we watch this is because of him.
I've been asking for it for months.
He's been hyping it up. I'm very excited to hear what he has to say in particular, because I know I definitely, unfortunately, wasn't as excited as he was. I don't know what Luke thinks. We're going to get into it. But let me just tell you all real quickly a little bit about Cabin in the Woods, because like I said, this is it's kind of like, it reminded me of the Scream movies, right? It's supposed to be sort of a meta horror film that kind of flips on the classic slasher tropes. It's not really complicated at all. It's about a group of 5 college friends that head to a remote cabin for a weekend trip. You think it's going to be super stereotypical, kind of general. And yes, that's a big portion of the story. We follow a stereotypical slasher horror film with this main group here, consisting of the classic horror trope characters in the main team. You have, the handsome, kind of dumb athlete, Chris Hemsworth. You have the whore, who's Jules. You have the scholar, sort of the smart guy that actually cares about academics. He's definitely alone in that. Nobody else here seems to be that much into it except Dana. He's the scholar. And then you have Dana, who's the virgin, which I guess isn't a virgin. It's kind of like up for interpretation by the end of it. It's kind of like they sort of screwed that up. But then, of course, you have the fool, which is sort of the main character, played by Fran Kranz. Now, when they're entering this cabin, of course, like I said, this is like just the stereotypical story. Oh, it's old, it's eerie, it's dangerous. And, they're playing Truth or Dare. Of course they are, in the living room. And as they're playing, out of nowhere, the cellar door, just a few feet away from them, opens up. They travel down into the basement and they find old, creepy artifacts. And, as dumb as they are, of course, they buy into it. They find a creepy journal. The main girl, Dana, she starts to read it. And, it's evil. It's sick. It's talking about the past of this house, who used to live there and such. And, of course, there's some Latin text at the bottom. Why not read it out loud? The text literally tells you to read it out loud. So she does it. And, of course, shit hits the fan from that moment on, when a big group of zombies erect out of the floor and come crawling, trying to kill each and every one of them. So, while all this is going on, you're probably thinking, okay, I've seen this before. What's so special about this movie? Cabin in the Woods. It's one of those films that the name, the title, Cabin in the Woods. It sticks with you. It stuck with me ever since I was a kid. And I guess what's interesting about this, and what's kind of the what plays on the ironic nature of how stereotypical the main story of this is that we see the behind the scenes, what's actually going on in the background. And as kind of the fool, the pothead, Fran Kranz, the actor's name, as he kind of figures out along the way, is that there's puppeteers that are controlling everything. And it's these, let me see if I can pull up a picture real quick. It's these guys. It's a bunch of weirdos in a big old office, and they're controlling everything. For whatever reason, they have access to a giant plethora roster of weird, freaky creatures and monsters that they're able to summon at their disposal. And this house is sort of, I don't know, it's a hell house that they control. And they are orchestrating the demise of these characters for two big reasons. One is, I guess, it's sort of like, Ty, I'm kind of curious to know if you have a further thought on this, because they pose two reasons for why these guys are involved with this whole encounter. The first, which is introduced in the beginning, is that they are sort of hosting like a weird, like dark web series for people to watch and buy into and stream, kind of see like real people go through a haunted house scenario. For real sick freaks out there that want to see like real people get screwed up there. Later on, it's also introduced that they're doing this as a sort of ritual to like some weird Egyptian mythological gods. And they have to go through these phases in order to appease them so they don't destroy the earth. So it's very strange. There's a lot going on there. I can't imagine anybody thought this would be what the story would be at the end of the day. I certainly didn't. What did you guys think going into this movie before you saw it for the first time? Luke, why don't you get started, because today was your first time seeing this, right?
Oh, yes, it is. It's complete, total mind blown. Nobody suspected this plot. I thought it was just, a simple house or cabin. It just turned into a whole new thing. Like you said, that's what I kind of got from it, the dark web type deal. Those are real messed up people down there, hosting really bad and nasty, creepy things. That's mostly what I got from like the main plot. I'm gonna let the expert go really quick, because
what did you expect? What did you expect going in? Because you probably, like, I had a weird expectation of what this movie was, and it was nothing like what we saw. Because you probably had some sort of idea what you were getting into, right?
Yeah. I thought they were just gonna get trapped in like the area, the perimeter of the because they were pretty deep in the woods. They had to go through the mountains. I just thought they're going to go into the cabin. They were going to get trapped in there, kind of stalked by whatever was out there, and kind of tormented. That's
the basic plan, nothing crazy.
Yeah, right. It turned pretty much right away.
What did you think, Ty, going in? Do you remember that? Because you said, I think it's been like 5 years since you saw this for the first time.
Yeah, so I saw this movie for the first time when I was 16 years old. So it was been about 5 years. And I think it was deep into the COVID breakout and not being able to leave the house and all that kind of stuff. I was really kind of keeping myself occupied by finding new pieces of media, especially horror films in particular. I watched a ton during that quarantine. So I just found this when I was scrolling on Netflix, and I thought I'd give it a try. Just looking at the cover, like you said, it does not, in my eyes, looking at it for the first time, I thought it was going to be some sort of like Conjuring-esque film that has something to do with the house that's haunted, or the house is somehow being manipulated or something. But yeah, when I started watching, I was like, this is not what I thought it was going to be at all. And I was honestly like very like happy that it was like, it turned out to be something that I couldn't have even imagined of wanting to watch. So
And you have, so we finally saw it for the first time, both Luke and I. But Ty, why don't you get started? Because as I mentioned earlier, this is a movie that you were particularly passionate about. You were hyping this up. You were very excited, and after seeing it for the first time, I kind of can see why you were really digging this. Especially it's a good lockdown movie. Because I don't know, I felt like there's a sort of a bit of hysteria, and we were all going kind of crazy in lockdown, and then you see the turn of events here. I can see how you could maybe like make some sort of ties at that point. But other than that, I never would pick this out like amongst a lot of other horror films. I bet you
Right.
saw for the first time at that time. So what did you think was so special about this?
Well, I'll start from the beginning because I've got a good amount to say, and I'll try to keep it as concise as possible. First of all, like, the creator, Drew Goddard, the director, writer of this film, this was his first ever project, his first ever solo project. Previously, he had done some writing for Buffy the Vampire Slayer and that show Lost that was on in the early 2000s.
Okay.
But yeah, this was his first ever film. So going into this, first of all, I thought that the actors that he was able to get as a first-time director, especially Chris Hemsworth, he was new, he was young at the time, but this was not his first film by far, and neither was it Fran's first film either. So starting off with that, I thought that was really interesting that he was just able to accumulate that as a first-time director. Going into the characters, like, the characters in this film are not particularly interesting in any sense. We have, like you said, we've got Chris Hemsworth character, who is the most stereotypical jock ever. Within the first 3 minutes of the movie, he's throwing a football, being like all that kind of stuff. We see Franz pulls up in his car, literally like hotboxing the thing. Like, so we get a very quick idea of what these characters are going to be like. And from that, you're like, this is going to be stupid. This is going to be just like all the Friday the 13th that we've ever seen. There's going to be drinking and sex, and they're going to die. And that is not what happens. I wanted to talk about when we first get to the cabin, because this movie has used so many different horror tropes and settings and ideas from previous horror movies. I'm not sure if you guys picked it up, but the cabin that they're staying in, everything from the design of the cabin to the low shot of coming up to the cabin is all directly taken from the Evil Dead films from the late 70s, early 80s. If you like,
it looks just like it.
Yeah, if you do a like a look around inside and you kind of do a comparison, everything is exactly in the same spot that it was in Evil Dead. Everything down to the cellar door in the floor. So that's like amazing that was kind of a nice homage to those types of movies. There's also many different many different monsters and stuff that are throwbacks to previous movies. Not direct copies, but the very similar idea. The guy with the
razor blade, like saw blades or something.
Saw blades in his head with the little thing. It's almost a direct
Hellraiser.
Direct take from Hellraiser, exactly. There's so many of those, which I can only appreciate those things because he had enough of sense to make a movie that doesn't directly rip off anything in particular, but kind of gives that watcher the ability to like reminisce and kind of pick up certain Easter eggs that you might not pick up on the first watch. And on this most recent watch this tonight, like, I picked up a couple things that I have not picked up in the past. A couple things in the basement connected to the characters, because like we saw, each one of those little artifacts in the basement was a choice that they made, and it depended on what monster they chose. It's like they didn't really choose because they were going to get attacked regardless, but it's not like that family was coming every single time. They had the option. It was free will on their part to pick those different monsters. And I thought that was really like smart because they had no idea what they were doing. And like you said, Jackson, they were being nosy, way nosy. And they honestly paid the price for it. Because if they hadn't messed with any of that kind of stuff, this
what would have happened?
Situation, they wouldn't have been able to set it into motion. So, and as for the last thing that I would like to say, as for this overseeing company that seems to have all this like divine intervention and control of all these monsters and stuff. I thought that was really interesting because they're really just using these people as pawns. Like,
Mhm.
yes, there's this ritual that needs to be done, and there's that whole piece of it, but there's this other piece where they're genuinely, these two men in particular genuinely enjoy making these people suffer. And you can tell that they do. They make jokes.
Yeah.
They make some derogatory statements. The officer, the guy on the right of the screen with the more hair, like he says something about wanting to see the girl's boobs before she dies and all that kind of stuff. So they really
Sweet guy.
are kind of cynical people. And not only are they cynical people, but it also is very obvious that they are genuinely deathly afraid of some higher being that they don't even understand. They don't understand any of these monsters. They don't understand what they're doing. They just know that they have a mission, and they know the consequences of failing this mission. They're deathly afraid of what would happen, and they have no concept of what this entity is below them that has all of this power. And as we saw at the end of the movie, this hand that just shoots up into the air is
Mhm.
like the end of the world as you know it. And so really, like, it's funny, they're pawns to this Titan-esque character, and then the people in the simulation are pawns to it's almost like one of those Russian nesting eggs. It just
Yeah,
keeps
that's right.
like it's really, really like so like capturing in my
Yeah, the
opinion.
puppeteering goes.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a couple
it goes
layers of
both
that.
ways.
That's a good
Yeah.
point. Yeah, I thought that was like, yeah, we'll get into it, but I thought that was probably one of my least favorite aspects of the film, which I thought was a little ridiculous and far fetched. Was this, these ancient gods controlling this group here? The underground behind the scenes puppeteers. I thought, like, of course, we get a lot of kooky monsters, which I also thought were mostly ridiculous and literally looked like they came straight out of Scooby Doo, James Gunn's Scooby Doo films. But
Backrooms.
yeah, not even, man, not even. These
They
weren't
weren't
even
scary enough to
scary.
be
I hate to
backroom
say it,
characters.
yeah, but they oh gosh, what was the point I was trying to make? Um, I totally forgot. I just lost it.
That
You got me
the
thinking
ancient
about.
gods didn't really make sense.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, of course, yeah. So the setting is literally a cabin in the woods. So you have the cabin in the woods, and then you have ancient Egyptian gods controlling everything. It's like, okay, it's a little much, guys. Especially at the end, like you said, when you see a giant hand like come out from the earth and destroy the earth or whatever it does. It's like, what am I watching right
They
now,
really didn't
bro?
need to add that.
They
No,
did.
that was too much. Just like, we didn't need to see that. It's when we got a little too ridiculous. Luke, why don't you first off, good stuff, Ty. Good insight. I liked that. Luke, what did you think seeing this for the first time? Your out of theater reaction watching this. Did you like the film? Are you into it? Is this were you shocked? Let us know.
Yes, I liked it. I didn't love it. I was shocked, yes, because we did not expect any of that. The outcome, nobody would have predicted the outcome watching it the first time. It was very unique. It was very unique. I enjoyed it. I enjoy movies like that because I don't want a simple haunted house, stuck in the haunted house, Friday the 13th type movies. It was good. I really enjoyed it. It
Oh.
reminded me, like I just said, not the scary aspect of it, like, but Backrooms, like all the different crazy monsters, and I really enjoyed how they happened to pick the zombie, the zombie
I
crowd,
like the tie. Yeah,
because
oh, sorry.
no,
You go.
I'm just saying, just because if they picked anything else, like they got really lucky. If they picked this
Yeah,
giant
that's got to
snake,
be the easiest one they could have
if they picked the
chosen.
giant snake, if they picked the ghost thing,
Maybe
I'm
Dummy.
thinking the Hellraiser guy. I mean, well, I remember one of the characters was holding the orb or whatever that was, the sphere, and
Yeah,
that
the
the
Hellraiser
Hellraiser
character.
character was holding. I'm like, oh gosh.
he was
Imagine if you would have chosen that.
There was
Yeah.
4 of those actually.
Wow.
We saw a separate shot where they're standing around a guy, and I don't know if it's 4 separate ones, but there's 4 of him like standing around. So yeah,
Wow.
4 of those, I'm good.
I did not notice that. But no, I really enjoyed it. It was, really gross, like in a creepy way. What they were doing down there, enjoying the death and
Mm.
agony of these people, especially the guy you were talking about. He's on Happy Gilmore, or not Happy, Billy Madison. He was, the
Who's
assistant.
in Billy Madison?
Um, we were just talking about him, the one that wanted to see the,
Oh, he was
yeah,
on that?
yeah.
Who was he in
He
Billy
was
Madison?
he was the guy trying to take over the company.
Oh my gosh, you're
Yeah.
right. Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that makes him I like him so much more
Yeah, that's why I
now.
enjoyed it. I just watched Billy
Wow, I
Madison
didn't even
yesterday.
think about that.
So,
Are you sure?
yeah,
Positive.
100%.
That's
He's
great.
100% right.
I
Yeah.
loved him in that.
Yeah, so did I. But yeah, that's why I enjoyed him too. But he's so gross, and like they were cheering for those kids to get demolished
it.
by this
Get it,
floating.
yeah.
She looked like the lady
Oh
in the ring.
yeah.
But
Yeah, the ring chick.
yeah, that was he's just crazy. These guys are freaks, and they seem so professional too. It's like, come on now.
Well, we're about to talk about them because I think that's a big part of that's a big part of the film that's definitely more intriguing than the stereotypical part. But for me, I was definitely shocked, like you said, not even just by how different this was than what I expected, but also because I think this one of its strengths is the shocking deaths. I think they really catch you off guard pretty much every time. I didn't see any of these characters dying like that, especially just how instant it was when it happened. And like you mentioned, Luke, when we just watched this, because we just watched this a little over an hour ago, they don't like wait and they don't like sit on the deaths at all.
Mhm.
Like when Chris Hemsworth dies, it's like a really
Oh,
tragic
man.
death.
Out
And then
of
it's just
nowhere.
like, there you go, it's over, keep walking.
Like the buildup of these characters just to be ended like out of nowhere.
I kind of like that a little bit
I
just
do too.
because I don't know,
Makes it
it's so
realistic.
different, but because there's other bigger things going on. You can't really just sit on it, unfortunately, as
Yeah.
much as they'd like to.
Actually, a funny little another little, I guess not an Easter egg, but like a funny little coincidence. I checked because I wanted to I was curious. Chris Hemsworth's death and the death of the scholar, there is only a minute and 11 seconds in between their two deaths.
Oh,
Of
really?
screen time. They die within a minute and 11 seconds of each other. I think that's so funny. That's so
Wow.
that's so sped up. Like that that rarely happens. People die unless it's a group. Like these were two individual people doing
Yeah, the two
individual
main
things.
characters. That's crazy. I can't believe it was that short.
I know.
That came quick.
I
But
know.
like I said, I thought this is pretty much a rated R version of James Gunn's Scooby-Doo films. If you haven't seen those, I noticed quite a few ties that I think I'm going to mention a little later because I don't know, like that's a weird thing to spoof, but I couldn't stop thinking of it. I could not stop thinking of it because I just watched one of his movies pretty recently, and I don't like James Gunn. I don't like him anymore because of Superman. I liked Guardians 3. 1 and 2 were okay to me. I wasn't really big into them. I liked Suicide Squad 2 that he did, and he did a great job with the Scooby-Doo films when he directed those and created those. And yeah, this just kind of reminded me of the more weird elements that he had with the live action Scooby-Doo. And I think overall I was just kind of disappointed by how silly it was. Especially like there's a lot of moments when it's not trying to be silly, but it is silly, just the way everything, like certain situations are framed, or it's like the line delivery. And I think that's a big problem with the puppeteers, which you were just mentioning, Luke. These guys are supposed to be really pure evil. Like you said, they take pleasure in murdering and kind of torturing people, psychologically and physically, even like young people, like the children in that classroom with the weird ring / grudge character. Like, they're pretty evil characters, but I don't know what it was. It might have just been the environment or the delivery, but they weren't scary antagonists to me. Well, it was also because they were kind of like a lot of their lines were jokes, and it was like a comical, ironic environment. And they're really evil characters, and I think if they would have like decided to play this off as the serious segment of the story, then I could respect them more as villains. But like I didn't even like just like me as a person or emotionally, I had a hard time being scared or intimidated by these characters just because of that. They just treated every moment these guys were on screen like they were silly little clowns. And there was really only one solid character within this group, which is it was like the security guard character, and he was the more stoic, kind of dry character. But I don't know, I didn't like these guys being played off as comic relief. I thought that was strange, especially considering what they're doing. So I'm kind of wondering what you guys thought about this whole segment. Do you think that the strange dynamic between the puppeteers behind the scenes worked well with like the stereotypical slasher story at the forefront? Do you think those blended well together?
I mean, I don't know, because the whole thing's a mystery of how did they capture all of these creatures, and like what's the origin story of this organization? Like, that's just my big question. Like, what role do they play? Like, how did they hire all the security guards?
Yeah, where
with
does
the
this get
guns?
started? That's a good point.
Like, I don't understand. And they normalized it so much that they seem like protagonists. I mean, they're so calm about it, and they seem so professional. Like, he has his cooler with his lunch and his coffee in his hand. Like, and then he's just casually running a major dark web group to a morbid reality TV show for freaks. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, the origin definitely doesn't make any sense. How did this get funded? There's the people upstairs, right? Which they don't really get into. I was kind of hoping we'd learn who that is. I guess Sigourney Weaver at the end is sort of the director of this group, but I don't know if she is that person upstairs or not. And I'm not really sure if the people upstairs exactly know what they're doing downstairs. It could be some other large scientific or, technological organization. I don't think it got into that unless you remember, Ty. But what do you think? Do you think this story, their story, played well with the stereotypical story, or how did you think that fared?
Well, I think that it's definitely a unique take and a unique angle to go on to, like, when it comes to like a horror movie, especially with the cold cut story that they have with the character with these like college students. But I thought that the like these people behind the scenes kind of like they were kind of like they knew the rules. Like, they knew all of the rules, and whether the rules were for their company or just the horror rules in general, like, multiple times they talked it through, like, this person dies first, this person dies second, this person dies third, this person always dies last. And if we look at any horror movie ever, we look at Scream, we look at Friday the 13th, we look at Nightmare on Elm Street, there's always a final girl, and the final girl is always the purest of the group. And so, like, in that sense, like, they really understand these rules, and they really kind of give us this ambiguous idea that all horror movies are all somehow created or all existing in the same universe.
Oh.
And I think that that's a really interesting idea for them to play off, like, with all these characters and this bigger power that nobody knows over the world. Like, it's kind of, it doesn't necessarily imply it, but it doesn't necessarily not imply that all these horror movies that we've ever seen, because we saw this character that looks very similar to the Ring or The Grudge in Kyoto, Japan, exactly where both of those films occur. Like, the Wolfman, like that, like, there's all of these like parallels, and I think that that's like a really like unique idea when it comes to these two, because these two are definitely like the most unlikable characters, I think, more than those college people, just because, like you were talking about, it feels like they're just so comedic. But on the other hand, like, I want to talk a little bit about like just the like the desensitization of this whole organization and this company. Like, they are pretty much forced to do these things. It's not like they are doing this because they're paying a great wage, and if they didn't want to do it anymore, they could just quit and stop doing it. Like, they are literally keeping the world dormant or whatever. So they are there every single day watching people be murdered in the most gruesome ways possible with really not much they can do about it except follow these rules, exactly what we're talking about. So I think that in a sense, even though they're like very kind of obnoxious and like gross and all that kind of stuff, I think it's kind of like an ironic thing where it's like they're acting like they're so powerful and so like up there when in the reality they're just as much ants as these other people are. It's
Mm.
just a food chain. So like I feel like there's a little bit of like the desensitization and the irony going on in that situation that kind of might play into these characters a little bit. But overall, they're kind of just sleazy, like douchebags. Like they're not really that nice. And I'm gonna be completely honest. I was very happy to see both of them like murdered, especially this guy who gets killed by
Of
that damn
course.
merman because he's been crying about it the whole movie. You
Yeah.
got to see your merman, dude, and it ate your head. Good job. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, that was. I
Oh
thought that was very
gosh.
rewarding after seeing these guys the whole movie.
Well, I think, you sort of made a point that they're juvenile. They're juvenile characters, and they're sort of, they act like juveniles, like a bunch of teenagers. And for me, I have a hard time, taking them seriously at that point. But obviously, that's what the creator was trying to do. But I don't know. I
Yeah,
wasn't too interested in that as the
yeah.
choice. But this whole film is supposed to be ironic. That's the other thing, though. I think I love, we all three of us here love older films, of course, and I don't think effects screw up a lot of our mindsets and our thinking for movies. I don't think we let bad effects alter how much we enjoy a movie or not.
Not
Not
really.
really.
I think this is one of those rare occasions where,
No.
there was like a space and time where CGI just looked fake enough and flat enough. And I think this movie is a great example of that. And that's something that kind of bothered me. I think there's like back when they barely touched on CGI and it was it wasn't the best, but it wasn't completely irritating. And then there's, as time progresses, they get a little more comfortable with it. And then here they just give you straight up CGI characters and they really look like just hand drawn cartoons at this point. And I think I had a hard time finding good pictures, but I mean, this is a good example here. It just, the CGI, it really took me out of it. And I had a hard time taking any of these alien monsters seriously. It looked like it was straight out of an old video game, really.
It's
And
kind of
like you said,
ridiculous.
I thought this was earlier 2000s. This is 2011. I mean, that's
Yeah.
not that long ago.
Mm-mm.
But that was something that kind of irritated me. Just overall with this, I know that's kind of off topic, but talking about characters, because as we always say, you gotta love the characters if you're gonna be invested in a film. If you want to rewatch a film, if a film really sticks with you, it's because of the characters. You gotta love your characters. Your main characters are so important. And Ty, why don't you get us started? Because this is one of your favorite films of all time. Are there any characters in this film that like stick out to you for any specific reason, or that you're especially intrigued by, or are there any characters that you are utterly repulsed by as well?
Yeah, well, there's definitely a good amount of both. Um, I'll start with the ones that I like really kind of like appreciate or kind of like stick with the whole movie, and it's definitely going to be Marty and his sister Dana
Mhm.
because
Marty, that's his name.
yeah,
That's
because
the pothead.
yes. And I think that in particular Marty really sticks out to me because he's kind of like he very much reminds me of his character design very much reminds me of that one character from the first Scream movie, the
Oh
guy
yeah,
that's
of course,
sitting on the
JB
couch.
Kennedy, Randy.
Yeah, who kind
Oh
of
yeah,
knows like he knows what's going on. He kind of has that idea, and that's a little bit more like comedic in that
he's
movie
literally Randy.
because yeah, but like in this sense, like from the get, like he kind of was like he was the one who was like, "Hey guys, like don't read that Latin. Like don't read the Latin. Let's not be in the basement." Like all he wanted to do was like smoke his weed and have a good time. And these people were like way too nosy and like way too like whatever for no reason.
Stupid.
Exactly. I think that Dana definitely had some redeeming qualities. towards the end of the movie, but I think pretty much throughout the whole film, she's pretty weak.
Mhm.
I feel like she's being given direction. She's being told what to do the majority of the film. Like
Mm.
she's pretty much like she's pretty lost in most scenarios
Yeah,
without
she
another
doesn't make any
person.
decisions on her
She
own,
really
really.
doesn't. And like honestly, I think it's a little bit cheap that I mean, I understand for the film and the storyline, but I think it's a little cheap that she was able to survive all the way to the end. Like she got like messed up so many times, and then in the finale she gets mauled by a werewolf and she's just like sitting there like whatever.
Yeah, like it's all good.
But she and him at least had a little bit of common sense, and I did appreciate that little bond they had, brother and sister bond. um I also kind of appreciated that the female partner of the two men, because in the behind the scenes,
Oh,
you know what I'm
yeah.
talking
You're
about,
talking about
because
this lady?
yeah, they kind of just gave her the cold shoulder the whole time. But her characteristics and her character design is what I wish they kind of used for both of them, because you can kind of tell that she's not okay with anything that's going on, but she
Mhm.
has no choice. Like I remember the scene in particular. They say you're drinking or they're like you're celebrating, and she's like, I'm not celebrating, I'm drinking. Like she
Oh,
has
yeah.
no intent of being happy like the rest of these people. She's trying to forget. She's trying to feel less about what she's doing. Like she in multiple parts of the movie is like, this is not okay. This isn't cool. Stop being pigs, like all that kind of stuff. Because I think she really understands the full scope and isn't letting her like narcissistic tendencies like take her over. And I think
Mhm.
they're just using that narcissism as a cover for their like total fear,
Mm.
because they could die every day they come to work.
Yeah, she was a mature voice of reason,
Absolutely.
right? And, like, you make a good point. Like, all these little things, like the drink that you mentioned, that was something that stood out to me as well. And this is just creating a character, making this person unique and different, independent. And, unfortunately, I don't want to just keep dogging on the movie because there's great things about it too. But a lot of these characters don't feel independent at all. Really,
Mm-mm.
everybody just and they do that on purpose. I think a lot of the time, of course, because they're supposed to be, stereotypical slasher film teenagers or whatever else, right? But you kind of need them to be independent if you want us to get attached and to care about them. Because for me, I didn't care about really anybody. I did like Fran, like you said, the
Yeah.
brother. I thought he was great. I thought he was funny. He was pretty funny most of the time. That was something that was just overall weird. I wanted to mention this earlier. I can't believe this movie was a straight up comedy. I think
Yeah.
it wasn't scary at all. I think it's strictly comedy. There's nothing really horrific except the deaths. Nothing really horrific about the movie. There's no like serious jump scares. I don't think it's really trying to scare you at any point in time. So I think the whole movie is just ironic alone, and that to me is I'm not a comedy guy, so I think that's a big reason why it just didn't stick out to me. But yeah, I liked him. I completely agree with you. Dana was really weak, even though she is the main character, the
She's
main
supposed to be
protagonist.
final girl.
And I like you make a great point there about that because yeah, there's no reason why she should be able to survive till the end more so than anybody else. She doesn't have any skills in particular, and she just kind of like opie dopey jumps and tumbles into each scenario and somehow doesn't die. That was different with the other Scream Queens. They were they had competent arcs, and they were
Fought back.
independent. They stood up for themselves. She didn't really do that. So yeah, she was kind of just led along by everybody else the whole time, and for whatever reason,
She
she's like the
killed
Scream Queen at the
one
end.
singular. Was it her? Remember they were like
She
hanging.
was stabbing the
She
zombie.
stabbed the dude through the head, and
Mhm.
then yeah, that was one, but that was like pretty tame and weak as when it come to other ones. Like Franz cut a zombie all the way up, like dismembered him with a trowel.
Mhm. Oh yeah, that's right. We didn't get to see that, but yeah, that happened like in the back. But and then a lot of these other characters, we have a lot of screen time with them, but none of them like you don't latch on to them at all. Chris Hemsworth, bleh, boring, like, stereotypical jock and just not interesting at all. His girlfriend, the whore, is, the worst of all these, just gross. And, of course she's supposed to be, but nobody wants to see that. And then, of course, you had the scholar who's supposed to be like the love interest, which I thought was funny how they really didn't play into that at all. That was like cut off immediately, but he was just dead dry, didn't offer anything to the story.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it was pretty much just the main, Fran's character that kind of stole the show. What did you think, Luke?
I'm gonna start with saying that the brother and the sister, they had no business. Like you guys said, they had no business surviving.
The brother, I think the brother did more than anybody else.
No, he was so done.
He wasn't stupid.
Weed saved his life in so many different ways in this movie. I mean, like she was thrown around by this zombie. Like one scene, she was done for. I mean, and then she was bit in the neck by a giant wolf man.
Yeah, she really goes through it. Yeah,
she's-
somehow she doesn't die.
She just acting like she's not bleeding out or anything. Like you said, Chris Hemsworth's character, yeah, he was boring. He was just, stereotypical jock. No, I really like what's his name, the brother.
Franz.
Yeah, Franz. Yeah,
Franz, yes.
I think that's
Well,
the actor's name.
His name is oh, I just said it. Was it Marty?
Yeah, I think Marty.
Yeah, Marty.
Marty was my.
He doesn't
only
look like
favorite
a Marty
character.
at all.
He does not.
He was the
He
only
looks like
one
a
that
Shaggy,
had common
and we'll
He
get
looks
to
like a
that.
skeet.
That's what I was thinking.
He looks like a Shaggy accent, but we'll get to that in a little bit.
Gosh.
But I
Yeah,
was
that's a whole
totally
nother
thinking
thing.
about you talking about that tie-in with the Scooby-Doo. Now that you say it, like
He's
looks
literally
kinda-
Shaggy.
A little bit. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, bro.
But yeah, Marty, he was like the only one that seemed like he had common sense. He was laying in bed, then he heard the voices, and he was like, what is this? So he I don't know. He was just very unique. He deserved to live the whole movie rather than his sister. Well, no, actually they did. Sorry, they did. He was like the only one who wasn't really cringe,
Yeah, everyone else was really cringe.
Yeah. But I don't know. I enjoyed him the most.
Okay, fair. Here, let's get to the chat real quick. Thank you all for joining us here tonight. We appreciate you guys. And yeah, be sure to leave us some more chats so we could talk and get the conversation rolling. Cass Styles. Oh, look at that. It's my favorite time of the week. Exactly. Thank you, Cassie. I found the movie kind of strange and I watched it, but I don't remember most of it. Yeah, I have a feeling a lot of it's gonna just kind of go down the toilet. But
There's too much to remember. There's too much going on.
It's a lot.
I mean, this is my fourth watch, and I'm just now kind of fully grasping every little piece of detail that was meant to be grasped, and I'm still kind of not on the boat 100%.
I am curious about a lot of the little things you were mentioning, Critic, like the
Absolutely.
Easter eggs and such. I don't normally care, but there was a lot in here that I would like to see again. Just that though, I don't really want to see like the actual story.
I think there was a few in particular that were really good callbacks, and they did it really. And Drew Goddard did it very well. He was very respectful to the original, because I feel like sometimes with these movies, if they try to repeat a previous used idea or kind of use it as an homage to a previously used idea, they kind of butcher it, and they don't make it right. And I feel like they did a real good job of just following the basic rules, but kind of modernizing it a little bit and adding a couple different features so that it can't be called like a ripoff or copyrighted, but it still uses that form of nostalgia.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's not stupid, but it's annoying how you can't like get away with using just like the characters or making it so particular. I was just at the Universal Horror Nights at Universal Studios. It was the opening night. I was there over the weekend, and I got to see the Jason house. They had the Jason house. They had the Terrifier house. They had the Fallout house. Let's see. They have a weird WWE house, which I could care less about checking out. They had, and what was special was that kind of like stood out to me was that they have the right to sell these houses and create these houses based off the actual IPs. Because most of the time you go to a house, it's not a Scream house, it's not Michael Myers, it's always some spoof. And it was nice just seeing the real thing. I went in the Jason house thinking it wouldn't be. I'm not a big Jason fan at all, but they said the weight was the lowest, and I heard great things about it. It was horrifying. But just being there and seeing like the actual Jasons that looked really good, I'm glad I did it. And yeah, I don't know why I brought this up, but I just think it's interesting how you can't just use these characters willy-nilly, especially in like film. So kind of ruins the fun, but
big
I
bucks
get it.
to buy them, to pay. You got to pay a good amount of money to use these, and if you don't, it's a federal offense. So it's kind of sad.
Lame.
Literally.
Proctophile. Good evening, guys. How are y'all doing tonight? I noticed, Proctophile, you were late today. I noticed. You didn't think I'd notice, but I saw it. It's all right. Good to see you, man. It's good to see you, Proctophile. Thanks for joining us. We're doing great, man. Doing great. Happy to reflect. John Blackstone. What's up, man? A great first film. Oh, John's into it. What's up, John? Thanks for joining us. You're new. John says, we work with what we have. You know what that's in reference to, Ty? Is that from the movie? That came, he wrote that kind of early on. No. Okay. Well, it's a true statement in life anyway. Another friend, Matt. So many Easter eggs. Yes, so many Easter eggs indeed, Matt. So many. Nice profile picture. Procfile. Most horror movies are already pretty ridiculous, but this one took it to a whole new level.
Indeed.
That's for sure. Let's see. Okay, and then he's talking about crossovers. Procfile. There have been a few good crossovers like Freddy versus Jason, but when you try to combine every horror movie ever, it's just too much. Yeah, they were picking all of them.
They had the Rain versus the Grudge at some point. I haven't seen that. I would never watch it.
So he says Freddy versus Jason's good. I am curious about that. I wouldn't mind seeing.
It was all right.
It's really when you want to, Jackson, when you want to talk about the 2000 coded horror movies, and I've seen like Freddy versus Jason is something I watch like every year because it's a classic, and I like there's specific things that are stupid that I like about it, but it is that most like the down to the definition of a 2000 coded horror movie.
It was like 2003, right?
Yep. Terrible CGI. Everything looks fake. All the characters are like slutty and annoying and stupid. And neither Freddy nor Jason look very good, and it's all over the place. But for a 2003 horror movie, that they don't do that very often. They don't do the collabs. So I think that they did what they could, and I don't know.
It is a classic. I have to watch that too.
Freddy versus Jason. I gotta watch we gotta start watching the Freddy Krueger movies. Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
I'd be curious.
Not the new one.
I don't remember liking them, but because I watched the first one, I didn't want to explore the story anymore.
Johnny Depp.
Let's see. What about Johnny Depp?
Yeah, Johnny Depp's in the first one.
He is?
Yes, he's the boy. He's the guy that lays on the bed. The one that gets sucked into the bed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Dang, that's old.
Good call, Luke. Yeah, I didn't even remember that.
Oh, whoa. Here we go. Matt Duncan, GOAT, Particular Critic X.
What's up, Matt? How's it going?
Oh, you know Matt. Matt's a friend. Let's see. He says the world. Procfile says the world building to this one reminds me a lot of the game Immortality, just is not as well written. This whole movie just seems like it's straight up from a game, like Resident Evil or something like that. Why didn't they
make a game out of this? That would have been a cash cow.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Resident Evil 9.
That'd be kind of fun. Like you could have two players, be like the orchestrators, the puppeteers, and then you have like 4 or 5 other players be the idiots. That'd be fun.
I feel like that might be too much Red Dead coded, though. They might be too much. Or not Red Dead. I'm sorry. Dead by Daylight. My fault. My fault.
Oh, you know what? There is a game.
Procfile, you threw me off. You're saying Dead by Daylight or Red Dead in the comments. It's your fault.
There is a game called Welcome to the Game where there's like a organization behind the scenes that is filming. It's kind of like a dark web game. It really reminded me of this movie.
Yikes. Don't go to the dark web, Luke.
No,
don't do it.
It's just bad news, Whedon.
The Brawler warns.
Thanks, Brawler.
Procfile, how'd you like the Terrifier house? No, man, I didn't go in it. I'm not interested in watching those. Yeah, they sound a little too gross to me.
If you think Friday the 13th is bad, yep, it's
Oh,
terrible for you.
did you watch it?
I've seen the first one. It's
Bruh. Yeah,
it's
then you're
insane.
done.
Yeah.
Proctval? Oh, Proctval, yes. He's currently working towards the platinum for Red Dead Redemption. 27 out of 51 achievements down. Jeez. You got a lot to do, man. Another 20. Matt Duncan. The movie does remind me a lot of the later Resident Evil movies that kept trying to one up the previous release. Yeah. See, I've played one Resident Evil game, and I need to play more, but I definitely haven't seen the movies. I'm curious. Oh, great. And Matt Duncan likes the Terrifier movies. Nice. Okay. Whatever, Matt. Let's see. So, okay, let's talk about something fun, because we're talking about all these characters and how we don't care for many of them. Which of these characters do you think had one of the most shocking deaths? Like which one had the most shocking death? Because I think a lot of them like you did not see coming, but was there a certain one that was like, whoa, that just happened?
Hemsworth.
Really?
Yeah, because it was so anticlimactic. He, Evil Knievel.
Didn't you kind of see it coming though?
No, I mean,
I don't know.
I
He
totally forgot about
literally
that
was
poor
gonna
kid.
take his motorcycle or whatever it was, his dirt bike, and drive over a mountain
Yeah, he
or a
basically
cliff.
made it. He was gonna make it.
Mm.
It was pretty clear that he was gonna make it, and I mean, I knew he was probably gonna die further in the film, but I mean, it was just an all-in moment. Oh, look at that!
That sucked.
Yeah, I know. It was kind of
Yeah,
sad. I was
that
like,
was a good
damn.
shock.
Yeah.
I think for me, I thought the lover boy, the scholar,
that was
the
sudden.
short-haired guy, that one came out of nowhere. What's happening here is he's driving the vehicle. What is it? The RV.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's just driving and talking. Then all of a sudden, the blade goes right through his neck.
Mid-sentence.
And that was it. That they don't talk about him ever again, and they just move on immediately. And like you said, critic, that a minute later, Chris Hemsworth dies.
Yeah,
That's insane.
I think it was the other way around.
Yeah, it was the other way around.
Oh, it was the
Hemsworth dies first, and then a minute
he
after
died
him.
first. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Remember, because they take the RV to find another way out, but I will definitely agree with you. Like, yeah, the scholar's death for sure was the most like surprising for me, even after watching it multiple times, just because like we don't get a breather. Like we got a little bit more than a minute to really understand what just happened to Chris Hemsworth, and exactly what Luke is saying. Like, if you don't exactly remember that barrier's there, in some people, if you don't catch it right when it passes, because it only flickers for a minute with the bird, if you don't catch it, then you have no idea that thing is even there. So you're already kind of like trying to figure out what the hell just happened. And then you're kind of figuring out, okay, now where are they going to go? You're starting to kind of get the story to pop back up, and then bam, like immediately dead, like just so fast that we can't even get a second to think. And like, when did they get into the RV? Like, I'm trying to think of the point where they would have not been seen and been able to sit in the back without.
I don't remember.
It must have been from the from the second they left the cabin, because there would not have been another time that they would have not been like actively staring at the doors. Anyways,
that's a fair point.
Those were both very crazy deaths.
Yeah, but when he was saying to her the part that threw everyone off, when he was in the car, he was like, "Oh, it's just you and me now. It's just you and me." And then you're like, "Oh, like they're gonna live a little happy."
It's so sweet.
And then
it was a good shock when the brother came back from the dead.
Oh,
because I was surprised to see. I thought he was dead. But I remember I used this picture for the thumbnail, and this is obviously not a setting we saw him before. But I don't know. I just kind of wrote it off in my head. I didn't think we'd see him again. So that was a good surprise that he survived.
If he was sober, he would, he was stabbed in the back. Like,
was he stabbed in the back?
Yeah, with a knife. That he chucked the knife and it went through his back.
You're right.
There's
he got over that pretty well.
Yeah, I don't know.
Everyone gets over everything super well.
Bear trap in the back is That's gonna, yeah. I mean, that's not
Oh
something to just
gosh,
get
it's
you
up
good
have
for
a
your
from.
spine.
spine.
Yeah, you have a spine back there. I
Chris
mean,
Hemsworth got a big long blade in his shoulder.
And
Everything
he
was
just
just
pulled
fine
it
after
out. Like
that.
real life says that if you pull out a bullet like that and you don't have a way to stop the bleeding, a blade like that, you're just bleeding out and dying
Oh
in 5 minutes.
gosh. It's like unbelievably painful. I mean, you can't even think about it. And then this girl, Dana, she gets mauled by this giant werewolf, and it's all good. It's all good. No problem. Like her chest is all torn up, and it's just, another Tuesday. Just looking at the werewolf in the corner here, he looks great. He's
looks like
cool
Goosebumps.
as a Halloween decoration, not in a horror film. This
Yeah.
isn't scary. This looks like a costume.
It's a man in a suit.
Yeah, it's not a werewolf. He looks cool. It's a great costume,
Yeah.
but no, it doesn't work. It's Goosebumps.
This
Which,
budget
there's
did
a time
only
and place for Goosebumps, but maybe not in this.
This movie did only have a budget of about a little bit less than $30 million. So not that that makes up for any of the lack of CGI or the poor CGI use, but $30 million for a big film like this with so many moving parts and stuff, like that's not that much. That's pretty cheap.
Yeah, that's not bad. John Blackstone says something about it here. I think it's fair to definitely call this movie a B movie.
Yeah.
There's quite a few B movies to review. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes to start.
Great one.
And George Clooney was in the second one. You've seen that?
Oh yeah, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes is like, I mean, it's campy as all get out, but it's definitely worth a watch if you want to just see something. If you want to kind of lighten your mood a little bit, put it on. It's free. It's on. I'm pretty sure it's on Prime or Roku channel or something. Just it's funny. It's a good watch.
We don't ever watch we never watch B movies. I'm down. I'm down to see them. There's so many. I think I've heard that name before. I'm down to check those out. I haven't seen many. There's just so many to watch, and you can't get to everything. Everybody dogs on us for not seeing everything. I mean, we're only 20. We can only watch so
Right.
much. You get your one movie a week, and sometimes we watch more casually, but it's a lot. We don't know everything, so we're learning, and that's why we're doing this.
Exactly.
But so I have an interesting question, you guys. So of course we talked about the puppeteers. Of course we talked about we got into a lot of the deeper lore already. But how did you guys feel about the ritual side of things? Did you think that it was intriguing? An intriguing concept, and do you think it was done well? Sort of the ultimate masters of the entire situation are these like gods, these like mythical Egyptian gods that are that if not appeased will destroy the earth.
I thought it was stupid. They shouldn't have added any of that. They should have just left it as a dark web sick organization. Like like I said, like the origin. How did they set up the ritual? Like, what is the ritual? How did these guys get involved with any of this? It should have been left out, and it would have been a better movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, why not just leave it? That was it was interesting enough. Dark web for weirdos streaming this. That's better. They didn't need to add this extra element.
No.
Well, I think that, not to like burst your guys' bubble or nothing, but unless I'm like, because I've seen this movie a good amount, I'm not sure that this company really has anything to do with like a dark web thing. I think it has to do with these.
It's a facade. That's
Well,
what you're saying.
These under like I'll preface it by I do not like this idea of these like Titan-esque. Like it reminds me of like God of War story where there's these Titans that are locked away that then break free and rain hell, and you have to keep them dormant in the whatever. That's like stupid. But like when it comes down to the story that they actually made with this whole thing, like it's cheap and it's kind of has a lot of loose ends, but overall I think that these gods were some sort of lords of chaos that somehow created all of these monsters, because from what I got, these gods somehow have the ability to watch what's going on and find pleasure in it, and that's why they're kept dormant, is because they find pleasure in pain and suffering and destruction, and without that they have to do it on their own. And so that's kind of what I grabbed. I might not be like totally right on that. I'm not the director, but like after seeing it 3 or 4 times, like I really kind of understand like how a little bit how they were kind of trying to figure it out, but it's weird and there's a lot of loose ends, and they should have just cut it out completely and come up with a different idea, like you guys are talking about, something that's a lot less deep and a lot less like philosophical and weird.
Well, I think a weird tie I make to one of the James Gunn Scooby-Doo movies, which kind of hit me recently, like not like during the stream, pretty much, was in, I'm not sure which of the Scooby-Doo films, but there's like, it's the island. It's when the mystery crew or whatever they're called, they go to the island and they're there to investigate, and a bunch of people are acting funny, and their souls, they go underground, and they see that their souls were like sucked and taken into this vat.
Yeah.
And it was sort of, I don't know why, but that kind of reminds me of a lot that was going on here with the ritual. It seemed kind of similar, like they were like their souls were being sacrificed for the god, which was Scrappy Doo, funny enough.
Right.
But that was something that just immediately popped in my head.
Yeah, Scrappy Doo was a better god villain in that movie than this god was in this one. Replace me with
Scrappy Doo,
I'll be a
bro.
lot happier.
Scrappy Doo. Oh gosh. I think so. Okay. I remembered hearing early on that they were making this they were like making content for their buyers. Don't you remember them saying that? Do you think maybe they were just saying that like this is what we're telling people, but that's not actually what this whole this whole organization is about?
It's possible. Yeah. I mean, you are right. They did say something about that. I'm not
It could be
exactly
both. It's probably
Yeah,
both.
it probably is both. They're probably making money two separate ways, or they're selling this to a different company. I mean, this was like a worldwide thing, and they seem to all be in like cahoots with each other, because when Japan failed, they were pissed.
Mm.
Like they were pissed that Japan failed. They were like, how the hell does 10, like they were 9-year-olds? Like, how
Oh
did
yeah,
that happen?
there's the evidence right there. That's the evidence that this is something.
Right.
This is a televised broadcast.
Right. That's true. Yeah, because they do have all of that everywhere. So maybe there is some sort of, I don't know, maybe that's just the other countries like connected together. Who knows?
Or maybe I guess you could also make the argument that maybe all the countries are just wanting to appease the gods, and that they're upset that it's not working.
That's true.
But they have multiple attempts here, so maybe it's more effective if you do it more often with different groups. Who knows? Or maybe there just has to be one in the lot.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Do you have anything to say, Luke? Any thoughts? No.
No, I mean,
Yeah,
they obviously had to make an income, so.
That's right. Yeah, I really am curious about who the people upstairs are. Well, what do you guys think this movie has going for it? What are the positives? What's good about this movie?
It's unique.
Mm-hmm.
It's unique in its own way. I mean, the mystery of it all. There's two. It's like two separate movies in one. It's like you got the one side, or sorry, you got two sides to the movie. You got one side and the other side.
Mm-hmm.
You got, and they're two different things too. It's like downstairs, it's like a big lab. Those scientists, they all act like protagonists, but they're all horrible antagonists. And upstairs, it's like a actual horror movie.
Yeah,
it's like a
totally different settings.
Yeah, it's like what you would imagine Cabin in the Woods being. And then you get this whole other thing that switches everyone's mind up about like what's actually going on, and a whole new side to it.
I think
I
think what I think goes for it is, I think the concept is great. I don't think the delivery was that great, but I think it's definitely interesting. I love the idea of the multitude of puppeteers controlling the narrative with an unlimited roster of monsters to choose from. I thought that was fun. It's it's different. I don't think we haven't seen anything like this before, have we, Ty? I don't think anything is really
Not anything I've
picked
seen
up like this. Seeing sort of like a party in charge of creating the demise in a narrative fashion of a group of people,
right.
Other than like the Saw films, which I haven't seen, so I really don't know.
And those are more of a social
blackmail.
Well, not blackmail, but like kind of more of like social commentary on. I mean, obviously they're horribly. I've only seen the first 3, and I had no interest seeing the rest, because from what I've heard, they just get worse and there's just more gore. But from the first three, it really just seems like the director, whoever's doing it, is really just kind of picking out specific issues in society, whether it's drugs or violence or neglect or selfishness and all of that. And they're kind of using those as punishments, kind of like the 7 deadly sins, like gluttony and all that kind of stuff. I mean, the original, before the Saw movies even came out, there was the movie called Seven with who did that have in it? It
Brad
was
Pitt.
Brad Pitt and
Kevin Spacey.
Kevin
And
Spacey
Morgan Freeman.
and Morgan
Wow,
Freeman.
you know
Exactly.
this movie, huh?
Thank you. But yeah, so like, I mean, that is like, I feel like that's kind of a totally separate genre, and this is totally new water that I've never seen in another movie, and I have to give it props for that, because like Luke said, like, uniqueness is nothing to, especially nowadays where every movie that gets pumped out feels like it is literally thrown into a machine that just writes a very basic, obvious copy of a previous movie and then spits it out with $300 million in budget.
I think horror's done a good job at like keeping things interesting. That's why I get excited when a new horror movie comes out. We'll see about Black Phone 2, man. I don't know. It doesn't look too good, man. It's such a stretch.
Yeah.
Such a stretch. I just watched Black Phone again the other day. Last night, actually, and I love the first one, and it's just unbelievable. They're making a second one. I just don't like. They're trying. This is obviously an attempt to give us a new Freddy Krueger character, right? You know, sort of a dreamlike evil villain. They'll never get rid of them. They're literally at a camp. I mean, it's like, come on, guys. We'll see. I don't think it's going to do too well. I mean, if Megan 2 couldn't do it, I don't know if Black Phone 2 has the legs. So I'm not sure. What do you guys think are some of the film's faults? Because both of you are mostly pretty positive about the movie. What do you think are its downfalls?
I'll definitely I'll go first, and I'll just I've been given the movie plenty of props over the last hour, so I'll kind of get into the nit grit of what I really don't like about this movie. I think that, like Luke was talking about, like, this movie felt, the two sides of the story did not really feel connected in any sense, besides the fact that they were actively watching these people. It almost felt more of like Friday the 13th on one side, for the college students it was Friday the 13th-esque, and for this like company it was almost like a dark version of The Office, where like everybody's like cracking jokes and everybody kind of hates each other, but they're also all coworkers and they have this specific relationship with each other, and there's all these like jokes that they kind of intertwine all these people together, and like that was just like really weird. And it's just, when I was younger, I don't think I really cared too much about it, but I definitely care a lot more now. I'm like, what were you doing? Like, it almost feels like two separate movies that just needed to get smashed together in order to put it out, or whatever they wanted to do.
They're so starkly different.
Yeah. I also want to say that like this whole like pheromone, like mist crap that they continuously use to manipulate the characters to do what they want them to do, I think is so dumb. Because I don't think these characters needed that.
Yeah, they were already horny enough.
Like, they didn't need this, like,
making out with wolves
libido
and
mist.
whatnot.
Yeah, it was like literally libido mist that increased your libido. And like also this idea that because he was smoking so much weed, this gas did not affect him, giving him the ability to be in a clearer head than the rest of these people, even though he's like stoned out of his mind the entire movie.
I think they factor that in.
His weapon of choice is a literal collapsible bong that looks like a thermos. Like, it's just, it seems like the decisions that they make in the movie are totally decided by this company, even though the company is literally saying, well, no, we don't decide what they do, it's their free will. But like, no, like, you guys are purposely forcing them to like do what you want them to do. Like, they had no intention of getting down in the woods until you made them get down in the woods. Like, that's not their own will. It wasn't their own will to split up. Like they wanted to stick together, but the guys needed it for the plot for them to like. So that was just cheaply written. And then I feel like the stupid wall thing. That was
Oh
such
yeah,
a that was such
the
a like
cyber wall
yeah,
or
that
whatever
was
that
so
was.
out of like that was so out of like
It
position
doesn't
from
make
the rest of the
sense.
movie.
Yeah,
Just make the
it went
cavern big enough
sci-fi.
that they can't get across. Like it's not that hard. Just make it a big ass cavern. The bridge collapsed, so now you're
Mm.
stuck. Don't make it like, oh, we could jump it. We just there's a barrier in the way. Like
He's talking about this like around the cabin. There's a decent distance away from the cabin. I guess it encircled the entire area.
It's
Is
like
this
Wakanda.
giant invisible force field? Yeah, and you can't like penetrate it. I guess.
it fries
So
every
yeah,
living thing.
yeah. So Chris Hemsworth he tries to vault through it with his motorbike, and he blows up and tumbles down into a giant pit.
And it showed all of it.
Yeah, it was kind of funny seeing him. I mean, he just fell forever. It was sad though. Poor Chris
Yeah.
Hemsworth. Let's see. What do I think? My faults. I think like I think they tried to present these monsters like they were serious threats because they were active antagonists the whole time, and then they, you don't see brutally like the characters get brutally killed, but it's implied and it's kind of bloody, but these monsters are doing that, so obviously they're pretty serious and they're supposed to be evil and horrifying. They weren't horrifying, and like we've just said 100 times, they look like they're just straight out of Goosebumps. There's just an indescribable quality about them that doesn't make them heinous. A lot of it probably has to do with them being so clearly visible at all times. You see them so clearly, there isn't any sort of anticipation being built with these guys, and they just look like they look poor. And then at the end of the day, despite spending all this time with these characters, none of them really stick out. That's a huge problem. None of them, not a single one of them really, except the pothead, which I don't think they were exactly trying to go for. And I think at the end of the day, the whole film, it just tried to be funny too much. And I'm hard to please when it comes to comedy. And Billy Madison is one of those movies I love, and I think it's hilarious. And most Adam Sandler films, not Happy Gilmore 2, everybody, not that one. It's Dog. Fight me on it. I don't like it.
Modernized.
I didn't think it was funny at all. But I thought this one had a few good moments, but I can't do pure comedy. I think this one was just trying to be strictly comedy. I think it pretty much ditched horror, and I guess it could be straight up thrill, but it wasn't really that thrilling to me either. And then, like you said, like the pheromone stuff, it just had weird sexual material. And people get on me about that all the time, bringing it up because I don't like seeing it and I don't want to see it. And it's just another weird angle that we don't need to see in here. And of course, that's and that's of course where we get into like, it's a little more ridiculous. It's like a more ridiculous side of like those memorable scenes from the Friday the 13th film.
Right.
So I don't know. It was ridiculous to me. Before we wrap up though, I have another big question for you guys. Do you think the conclusion was a big letdown? And the conclusion was, let me see if I can pull up the picture here. We get the scene where is it here? Here we go. Yeah. So Dana and her brother, whatever his name is, Franz or Fran, they are sort of at the end of the line. They unleash hell where all these aliens and weird monsters, they tear up the puppeteer base, the underground, and all of that has just gone to hell in a handbasket. They are no longer going to be pulling the strings anymore. All of these fancy pants guys, they're all dead, and they finally meet the final boss, which is Sigourney Weaver, and she pretty much spells out to them that both of them need to die, or else those Egyptian gods, whatever they are going to destroy the earth. Yeah. This is when her character starts aiming her pistol at her brother, and she's getting ready to kill him. And that really pissed me off right away. I thought for two reasons. One, I think he's went out of his way to try to protect her and to be, a helpful hand in all of this. And of course, it's her brother. And she really was pretty comfortable with pointing that at him just immediately once she heard that. No thinking needed. And I can understand her thinking, of course, either we both die or the world ends. And that's the other thing. Who knows what this lady, if she's like spitting facts or not. She could be making all this crap up. You don't have to trust her. She has no right making you make that sort of decision. Who knows what she knows? Everything she could be saying could be a total lie. And that was just another angle that made me kind of upset. And I did not. It just kind of upset me about the conclusion here. And then of course what happens is the wolf man tries to kill her. Dana here. It doesn't work, even though she gets mauled. Somehow she survives. And Sigourney Weaver dies, and the god ends up wreaking havoc on the earth. And we don't know what happens to these characters. They likely die. So what do you guys think of that?
Dumb. Shouldn't have been added.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, it should have been the whole organization gets shut down by all the monsters. The end.
I mean, I think that this whole ending where this stupid crap with Sigourney Weaver, where she's trying to give them the whole business about you guys are trying to you have to save the world, and it's like, screw you. Like you literally like you wanted us to die. Like that's all you care about. And that's like, yes, because that means that the world isn't going to whatever, but you've never been looking out for any of our best interests. You killed all our friends. You killed her best friend. The one girl was like decapitated and she like held her head. Her love interest was literally stabbed through the back with a sword or through his neck while she's sitting next to him. And then she almost drowns. Like, they're in no position to be like, oh, okay, we'll be the saviors of the world and we'll sacrifice ourselves. Like, no, screw you. Like, I think
they had fun with it.
Shoot Sigourney Weaver, kill her, and then just let it end, and then that's it. And like, we don't even need this crap about the whole thing is just falling apart. Just kill her. You guys sit there, you both bleed out and die, but you know that at least you've stopped the thing that tried to, like, that is going to screw over so many other people around the world. Like, that's all you need to do. You don't need to do this bullcrap with the, like, and the god comes out from the earth with the hand and crushes the earth because we weren't able to appease him. Like, so, like, it feels almost like, it almost feels like some sort of Marvel trope or some sort of comic book trope where there's just an overpowered god that just is almost like a Galactus. Like, I don't know. Like, it just feels like totally
Marvel-y,
random, and just like the person who had to write the last bit of the movie was smoking like PCP and messed it up.
It's the final touch, the cherry on top. Let's finish it off. Oh, that's funny. So, do you guys recommend The Cabin in the Woods?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I do. Oh, yeah.
100 times yes. This is one of my favorite movies I've ever watched. Non-horror, horror, whatever you want to call it. I mean, we've sat here for an hour and 20 minutes now, and I've spoke a pretty strong opinion on both sides. But overall, I think that it's a good watch. Even if you just see it once, it's pretty. You're not going to get bored. You're not going to get bored during the film. You're not going to. You're going to watch all the way through, and you're going to think about it somehow when you're done with it, whether you think it's totally stupid or you think that it's totally like ingenious and revolutionary. Like, that's totally up to you.
Okay. Yeah, and I absolutely. I give it a good shout. What's your scale?
Me? Do I have a scale? 1 to 10?
No. Like, what's your scale that was like watched? Remember
I don't know it off the top of my head.
Anyway,
the ranking, I don't know.
I give it a solid 8.5 out of 10.
My gosh, Luke, come on, 8.5. You need to figure out your numbers, bro. You need to think solid. Sit down. What's an 8.5? Because 8.5 is really high.
My rating is going to be around an 8.5.
Oh, Ty.
Okay,
all right. Well, okay.
That's
as much opinion, I guess. It's not like it being a great film.
Not 8.5 for horror. Absolutely not. That was probably a 2 for horror. Maybe even a 0. But like the storyline and the concepts minus like the Greek gods, yeah, it's a solid 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's not
Oh
going to
my
an-
gosh.
Um,
What's Fantastic Four, Luke?
Fantastic Four is probably going to be a 7.
Okay.
Out
Wow,
of
you
10.
like this more than Fantastic Four?
Well, two
Hmm.
different things. You can't really compare.
Yeah, they're on two separate scales. I think that's.
I
pretty-
think I'd give this
Thank you,
a
Megan.
4 out of 10. A
Four
4
Yeah,
out
look
out
at
of
Megan's
10.
comment. Hey, Jackson,
But
check out Megan's comment.
oh, look at that. Megan the Texan in the chat. Hey, Megan. 8.5 for sure. She loves
Such a
it.
great meta
Yeah.
movie. Thank you, Megan.
You're the odd one out, bro.
Oh, it so subverts expectation twice, she says. This is such a great meta movie. I'm always alone. I'm always fighting the forces, Ty. Always me. I'm fine with that. That's what I do. Yeah, I still, although I give it a 4 out of 10, I still recommend you check it out. It's fun. Put it on in the background. There's just some naughty scenes you gotta skip, but other than that, it's fun. It's nothing crazy. There's a million other things to watch. Just watch other stuff. But if you're really bored and you're curious, maybe we tickled your fancy. Maybe you think it's a little different. Then maybe check it out. Before we bounce, though, let's see what everybody says in the chat right before we go. And also, if you guys enjoy what we had to say today, we'd greatly appreciate if you gave us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel and share this with anybody. It makes a big difference in letting more people know about the stream and our channels. And also check out Particular Critics channel as well. Be sure to sub to him. New friend, old friend of Box Office Brawler, long time. And it's a lot of fun having him on here. And he offers some great takes. So be sure to check out his channel. Let's see what everybody says real quick before we go. Yeah, here we go. This was a big problem with the movie. Proctophile. Once you explain how ghosts work, they aren't nearly as compelling. Yeah, and that's the whole problem with this entire house. They just gave it a retina exam. So yeah, it was really deep. Let's see. Proctophile loves 7. Good. 7's good. It's a good one. I need to see it again. Nude Gamer. What's up, Nude? Good to see you, man. Black Phone 2. Blackberry. Yeah,
Nice.
you'd think you think the phone would upgrade by now. I mean, a significant amount of times passed. I think he's now calling on the Blackberry. Nude Gamer thought they were cousins. I thought they were cousins, he says. Were they? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they were brother and sister, but I could be totally. I think they. I mean, she kissed him.
She
Like on
did?
Not on the lips, but on the cheek.
No, that was Hemsworth.
Did they make out?
Wait, what?
She
Did they
kissed
make
Hemsworth
out?
on the cheek.
Oh, you're right. It was
Oh,
Hemsworth.
it was
You're right. My
Hemsworth.
fault.
That's good. That'd be freaky.
Anyways, yeah. Regardless, they either cousin. They were somehow
They
related.
were family. Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt Duncan, Tracker 47 Us. Was worth a watch, but I don't know if I'll ever go back to it. Yeah, that's fair. I think this is gonna be a one and done for me too, Matt. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Proctophile. Bruh, how are you guys gonna rate that high after all that complaining you did about it?
was that
Facts,
shit, man?
Proctophile. Spit, Proctophile. Spit. Tell him.
Oh, Jackson, you're a hater.
Tell him. 4 out of 10. That's being generous. 3.5 out of 10. Cast Styles gives it a solid 6. I won't give it a 3.5. A 4. I'll give it 4.
Thank you.
Oh wow, Cass loves Fantastic Four. Fantastic
She
Four.
never
gets
said
an
she loved it. 8 out of 10 is
10.
not a love.
Not Cabin in the Woods. 8 out of 10 is a great score.
That's enjoyable. It's like a like.
Ew, there's more than just that, buddy. Nude Gamer, naughty scenes, the wolf head makeout. I don't remember nudity. It gets a little more
They get a little freaky
interesting.
in the
It
woods.
gets like
Little freak mode.
On the mud.
Ty remembers that scene very well.
That's a yucky scene. I don't really
Yeah,
like.
it's gross.
I'm
The
happy we skipped over
pheromone
that.
stuff. Yeah, it's like, no thanks, guys. Megan the Texan, you root for the final girl, but dislike her in the end because she does not sacrifice herself. Yeah, I just don't like her anyway. I didn't like that she was totally fine with killing her brother. Like, come on, bro. It's not cool.
That's true.
I thought she was gonna switch.
Oh, great.
Yeah, you got
Proctophile's
you.
busting my balls. It's okay, Brawler. One day you'll get a horror movie with exclusively male nudity. I don't want to see that either, man. And then Proctophile finishes the stream with simply enjoying a movie is like a 6 out of 10. Yep, that's fair. That's good.
Yeah,
man.
that's a 7
All
out of 10 for
right.
average.
All right. Well, I think that's everything, guys. Thank you all for joining us here tonight. We appreciate you all. I think we're going to be back next Tuesday with Dark Hour talking about Reservoir Dogs. So be sure to join us there. It'll be fun having Dark Hour back on.
OG Tarantino.
OG Tarantino. That's my favorite Tarantino film. I love that one. And it'll be a
Sticks.
real pleasure having him back on. So be sure to join us then at 10 p.m. Eastern time. But at the end of the day, thank you all for watching.
Wait,
Have a
hold
good
on.
night.
Isn't it
Oh, too late.